Hello, and welcome to Om Shanti Healing's podcast, The Spiritual Connection. My name is Jill Ufer. I've been in the healing arts since 2008, helping people heal their bodies on a physical, emotional, spiritual, and energetic level. Let's get rolling. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4, Anxiety and Ways to Not Fear the Fear. Everyone has experienced anxiety. It's one of those responses in the sympathetic nervous system when we are confronted with something that scares us. It is our innate survival response to fight, flight, or freeze in the event of a fear. We all are familiar with it, and most of us struggle to manage our anxiety. The world we do live in is fast, constantly noisy, and information is pounded into our heads every day, all day long. We simply aren't built for this kind of overload, and the overstimulation can signal danger in our subconscious mind. You read the news or respond emotionally to any stress trigger, it invokes a feeling inside that is uncomfortable and feels unsafe. For some of us, this passes over a short period of time and we kind of get on with it and move on with our day. But for a lot of us, there is a massive amount of struggle to stop these racing thoughts that create physical symptoms of dis-ease in our energy, in our body. When there is no break from the fear, this is called general anxiety disorder, or GAD. This is a steady vibration of fear, worst-case scenarios, catastrophic thinking, victimization, and low vibration. It sucks, and it wears you out, and it keeps you desperately seeking for solace of some sort. Do you remember the day that switch turned on for you? For me, it was like a wall went up in front of me, and no matter what I did, I couldn't climb over it. A vibrating, evil blockage that left me feeling trapped and victimized. I felt weak with no end to the suffering or worry. This perpetual racing thoughts and images, fears at high speeds, running and fast forward like a movie in my head. My dad's passing took us all by surprise. Even him. He had stomach pains on a Sunday and was dead that Tuesday. Turned out that he had Agent Orange from the Navy in Vietnam. It gave him cancer in his intestines, which ruptured, and he went septic, and it killed him. It was all very fast and utterly devastating. When we were in the ICU, I had remembered the anxiety I had a few years back when I got this intuitive hit that my dad was going to die. It was just this message, this voice in my head that came out of nowhere. It was like a premonition that made me panic. But after time, years had gone by, lots of time, I began to just dismiss it. Well, that message came back and slapped me in the face, and I knew that we were going to lose him. It was a devastating realization that stirred a lot of anxiety inside me. More and more anxiety and racing thoughts about survival started to show up in my reality. Visions of fear, sitting on a corner with a sign, homeless and hungry and alone. Well, that message came back in over and over and over in my head. It was just like watching that movie of me alone, hungry, dirty, everyone ignoring me, people walking by, and me desperate and hungry and needing help and being ignored. That is a message that is still in my head to this day that I am still working through. Okay? After the service had passed and we had time to process this experience and this trauma for a little while, it was a few days after my dad had died when I had my first full-blown panic attack that lasted for 2 days. I was 19 and I had anxiety all my life, but never like this. never to the point of debilitating, paralyzing pain and cramps in my hands where I could not open my hands. They were frozen shut. Blurred vision, nausea, racing thoughts, couldn't swallow, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't function. It wouldn't stop. I was already so exhausted, and it just kept slamming into me over and over and over. I actually had thoughts of ending my life. I was so deep in the grief that my dad had just died. I had no room or energy to take this onto. It just took me over. Racing, panicking thoughts of losing the house, all of us homeless. There was no life insurance to pay off the house. My dad had a small accidental death policy that helped, but we went through it pretty quickly, feeding 4 of us, my 2 sisters, my mom, and I. My mom tells me still to this day when we talk about it, I don't know how I did it. It all feels like a blur. But she managed. We all got through it, and we survived. But that experience has scarred all of us, and it will never leave us. That moment, that switch clicked on in me, and I will forever know panic and what it feels like. Forever I will fear the fear. I was just a kid, and I had no awareness of myself. I had no awareness of healing or meditation or energy or vibration. I had no idea that I was intuitive and empathic and highly sensitive. There is an acronym for anxiety that you will hear called FEAR, F-E-A-R. F is false, E is experiences, A is appearing, and R is real. False experiences appearing real. The body signals you when you have a fearful thought. The brain doesn't have any clue if that thought is real or not, or just an idea. The brain will always try to find a solution to a problem. That's what intelligence is. There is a fight, flight, or freeze response in the sympathetic nervous system when confronted with something that's life-threatening, yes? But if you're not in danger, what if you're completely safe? What if these thoughts are irrational, fear-based images or ideas in your head that are not real? The brain will respond with fear, not knowing the difference. The nervous system's job is to respond, so it does, with physical symptoms that came from the thought forms in your head, trying to create a feeling of fight, flight, or freeze. Something needs to happen because you're in danger right now. I was convinced this was a curse. I was dealt with, I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. I thought I was the only one because I didn't know the name of it. Anxiety wasn't the name of it at that time. You know, I just thought I was being punished for something. And I thought, aren't I being punished enough? I just lost my dad. What the hell's going on? Why am I going, why is God or whoever punishing me more? This is my child brain talking, keep in mind. Well, over time and growing up, I educated myself on anxiety, always seeking a cure to try to make it go away. I was on a mission to get rid of it and to turn that switch off and have it out of my life forever. Unfortunately, I have not found one yet, but I have found multiple ways to ease the fear of the fear and to see it as a teacher, not an enemy. Now I have a few bullet points I want to talk about, but to start back then, when the anxiety, after I grew up and moved out to the West, started a family, anxiety was there still. It was elevated for different reasons within that relationship and so forth, but I needed more solace and more tools. That's when I was introduced to yoga teacher training. Started my journey as a healer and opening a business, a healing business. After yoga, that helped. I needed more. I learned energy healing. That helped really connect me to my ability to feel things and see things and hear things, and I developed my clair senses, but I still needed more, always seeking for that off switch. There's got to be something, right? Went into massage school, learned about how to help people with their energy and their pain and help them get stronger with these three modalities. Be able to release the trigger point to get the energy moving to help people heal and feel better and feel calmer and manage their stress. And now I'm doing coaching because so many years of this has taught me a lot. So many fails and so many tries and so many different avenues of trying to find a resolution and solution. I've learned a lot. Okay, so I want to share with you some of these techniques. Okay, there is a signal that is there for a reason when you have an anxiety trigger. It's an alarm that goes off that says, danger, danger, red flag. So if you're not in actual danger, and it is your mind sending you false messages, how do you catch it in time before the physical symptoms start to show up? That's a tricky one because it could be instantaneous, right? And as soon as you have that thought, you can start to feel the vibration and start to have anxiety symptoms, physical symptoms show up. These are very real. Okay? What I've learned and what I have to offer you are techniques that I use that has helped me manage my anxiety in the lifetime that I have had it. Okay? Number one, I don't push it away or run from it like I used to. I do not become fearful of the fear anymore. This will exacerbate your symptoms. I'm so used to the feeling, maybe I'm just desensitized over time, who knows? But when I feel the feels, I feel into the feelings with love. And I'm seeking within that feeling. Number two, when you feel the anxiety traveling through your body, it is trying to tell you something. Having self-awareness around the messaging in your head will empower you to know why you were triggered in the first place. Let me give you an example. You're driving on the highway in a state of high alert. You have a vision in your head of a semi-truck cutting you off, the car flipping multiple times, and everyone that you love dying. These messages are going to make your drive a miserable one. You're going to seek out every semi-truck on the road, and that vibration of fear will percolate and overwhelm you while you're supposed to be focusing on the road. You find yourself white-knuckling the wheel. You find your hands cramping up from your gripping so hard. You get a little dizzy spell. Maybe you get a little spin or swirling in your head with those thoughts. You notice that you can't quite breathe great, and you're choppy and you're shallow with your breathing. You notice that your palms are sweaty and sticking to the wheel as you death grip. And you notice that your right leg on the gas pedal is twitching uncontrollably. It's all fear thoughts, and none of it is real. But man, it feels real, doesn't it? Those symptoms are definitely real. The sensations that you feel that make you feel like shit are definitely not made up. But the reality is you are safe. Traffic is in fact very light. When you see a semi-truck, you either slow down or speed up to get away from it. The sun is shining. The sky is blue. In reality, all is good in the moment. So when you have these thoughts come up and you have physical response, take a moment here to evaluate. Number 3. What am I thinking right now that isn't real? Evaluate. What ideas or worries of the future are reeling in my head right now? Evaluate. Get an idea of them without letting the physical or emotional trigger take place. Step back from the thought, seeing it as if it was in front of you. It is a separate thing from you, not attached to you, not attached to your energy field. Look at it with neutrality, just as the observer. There is a story there. What lesson is in that story? Watch it like a movie playing out, teaching you something. Search for the lesson. Do not have fear or attachment to any of the story. You're just watching it play out, and you're searching for that message inside of it. Number 4, give thanks and show gratitude for the story and the lesson in it. Give thanks for the ability to separate the thought and see it for what it is. A thought, it's just energy. Not your enemy, your teacher. The awareness around this practice will empower these moments of fear and give you a new way of looking at it. You can ask your story to come to a happy ending for you in your mind. However it started, if it was fearful, of course, there's anxiety. The negative messaging and the negative imaging in your mind starts bad, but you can shift that outcome to a high vibrational happy ending. You know you now have the awareness to change any part of that story that you want to serve you and to give you the lesson and to give you control back. Number 5, the boxes technique I really like. I use this one often in my coaching. Why? Because when the choice comes about, it needs to be made to change your life in some way. There's newness on the horizon, but it scares you. There's fear that shows up. Fear of the unknown, fear of not having all the answers or feeling confident enough to be successful, fear of not being an expert day one or having all the scenarios of what could go wrong already figured out. This can cause a freeze response. This can talk you out of the next move and leave you feeling defeated and like a failure. So how can we manage this issue with an applicable technique that can put that negative self-talk in its place? The boxes technique has a great feedback response. It just came to me one day on a coaching call, and I had my client give it a whirl, and she gave me really great feedback. And I have applied it to multiple clients since then. All have rave reviews. So here it is. When we come upon a hard choice, and those messages talk to us like we are incapable, we use the boxes. When we have had a trauma and been in suffering, we claim an identity around that trauma. That forms our choices, our opinions, and our personality. It feeds the pain body with defeating low vibrational obstacles in your head that keep you stuck. So the boxes help to separate those messages. Visualize a box on the right side of your head. In this box, we put all those messages of, you're not smart enough, where do you get off doing that, you're not worth it, you will fail, you're going to make a fool of yourself, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too ugly to do this, no one will respect you. Then you hear your dad's voice from childhood telling you, if you just do what I do in your life, everything will be fine. Don't make your own choices and screw things up. Wow. How can you even deal with these high anxiety racing thoughts, ruining your plans for evolution? This box on the right is for all of those low vibrational messages. Put them all in the box, and the lid goes on tight. On the left side of your head is for a second box. This box holds the messages of resilience, growth, and healing. The messages that tell you, I'm smart, capable, creative, and a survivor. The ideas of you going out and getting what you want, and no one or no thing is going to stop you from doing that. You will be a badass, and all of that you have overcome and healed from will empower you now. Messages of, I got this. I love a challenge. I'm completely capable to learn new things and hard things and get better with time. I will give myself grace and pace myself as to not overwhelm or burn out. I will love myself and honor all that I need to reach this goal with success and confidence. All these messages go in the left box. So you see, we compartmentalize these thought forms into two categories: low vibrational thoughts and high vibrational thoughts. When a negative thought arises, put it in the right box, close the lid, replace that thought with a productive, positive trait that you have available to you to pull out of that left box. Put that in your soul. Bring it in. Use that left box messaging to get the job done. You get the idea here. How does it feel to change your way of thinking around anxiety? There is no known cure for anxiety because it's supposed to be there to protect us. But we can learn to not fear the sensations and to better know the lesson within it. We can become companions in this life and see the fear as a teacher. When you no longer fear the feelings, it loses the charge to trigger you. Being the neutral observer, curious to learn from it, you become empowered and in control of your environment. Thank you for listening, and have a good week. That's a wrap, folks. Thank you for spending the time with me. Down below, you'll see all my social media links, including my website where you can read more about my coaching and online courses. If you do like my podcast and want to hear more, please subscribe or sponsor below and share with your friends. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll chat with you soon. Bye-bye.